everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Roy Kenny.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at an expansion for 3,000 Scoundrels called Double or Nothing, which is actually pretty funny because it does not double the Scoundrels.
What?
It adds, actually, how many cards? It adds
Nothing?
36 clear cards and 38 card sleeves.
Let me do some quick math.
Anyway,
That's
I'm just
not
surprised
double.
they didn't call it 4,020, like a 1,000 more. No, Double or Nothing
How many
makes
more
sense.
is it? Do you know?
I don't know, because technically the 3,000 was already incorrect because the way you stack the cards, you'll never get the top one with the bottom ones. So it was actually less than 3,000.
Well, I mean,
Well,
technically.
maybe it actually brings it up to 3,000.
That's true.
Have you done the
3,000
math?
Scoundrels. For real this time. Now, Z looked up our original ratings for the game.
Yes, I did. That's
So
right.
you gave it a 5.5. I
Yes.
gave it a 6.5. And you
I gave it a 6.
The concept and idea for the game was really cool.
Right, I love the clear card sleeves. I love all of that stuff and how it all comes together.
It just felt a little bit lacking, particularly the point cards in the original game. This promised to fix that. So let's see. Z's going to tell us what's new in this expansion, and we'll be right back.
All right.
So let me talk you through the new things you're going to get in the game, and we'll start with what the players get during setup. You are going to get a few new marks that you add to the ones you've got. You get a third special starting power that you can choose from now. So you had 2 in the basic game, you got a third one now. And then there is a player board extension over here that you add on to your side of the board, and it's going to give you 2 more places for the Scoundrels there, as well as an area down here for debts. And debts are a new idea in the game. Some things are going to give you debts. For some various abilities, you may take a debt. And if you do that, you get one of these. You're going to put it in one of these spots. Each spot can only have one. And ideally, you want to be paying these off because at the end of the game, they might cost you victory points. If you flip them over at the end of the game, this one, for example, would cost you a victory point. Some are more, some are nothing. So that is debts, and they are going to be worked into some of the game mechanisms. Speaking of debts and loans, we've got a couple of new locations up here. Besides the sheriff's office and jail, you also now have 2 new locations that you may visit. At the loan office there, you can pay off the loans. You lose 1 or more of your debts by paying their cost, which again is right here, and you get rid of those. And then at the newspaper, you can hire a reporter, which is going to let you spend your buck and gain a debt to scout a safe at a site and then mark it with one of your many marks here. So there's going to be a lot more looking at saves now so that you know kind of what you're getting, because that's the next big change, and it's a doozy. The original game comes with these saves here. And so you have different values in the different colors as denoted right here, right? So you have 2 3s, 3 4s, and a 5. These values for this one, the values over here. But this whole deck is not used with the expansion. Instead, you're going to get a brand new deck of cards here that all have special abilities. They still have a value on this side over here, but they now have some special ability. So they are all unique, and many of them, when you steal them, they say place them face up. So when you steal this Miracle Medicine, you need to place it face up. There's also the rule about having only 1 safe during day 1, having up to 2 saves during day 2. That is all gone. You can have up to 3. They don't care about what day it is anymore, i.e. what game round, okay? So these have special abilities, but above and beyond that, when you are setting up the game for all 3 of these locations, you are going to shuffle up these cards. You're going to put them out here like so. There's one that is never seen, right? So you don't know exactly what it is. But also you are going to modify some of these by taking the card and sliding it into a transparency like this and modifying what's on that card. And then you put it back face down, and it changes something about that card. So let me go ahead and take that back and show you what this would look like, okay? Just so you see what's happening and how it might modify that. So this is the card randomly. We wouldn't know what it is. So it's a picture screen, it says. And it says, when stolen, face up, start of your turn, spend $3 and place one of your 3 marks on this. That's great. That means it's going to be worth more. However, if it had been randomly modified, then we slide this behind the transparency in the sleeve, and now it's an ornamental screen, and it has an end of game ability that says if you have at least 4 purple Scoundrels, this is now worth +2 victory points instead of the 3. So there you go, and there's a whole stack of these that are going to modify the saves you can steal and the stuff in there. You do not do this to all of them. You do it to, I think it's 3 in each of the piles. So there's a ton of variety now with the saves, which was certainly very different in the original game. All right, so that's a big one. And then besides that, of course, is the obvious thing in which you're going to get a pile more of these Scoundrel cards. You get these here, some level 2s and a bunch of level 1s that you can mix and match. And you are going to get then the overlays as well, which are over here. There's also one new rule, by the way. These are all the new overlays, which says that instead of creating the piles as they were before, you instead make a pile of purple cards. There's always a pile of purple. And then you make a pile of the black and the reds. A certain number of the blacks and the greens. A certain number of the greens, based on the number of players, generally. And then the blacks underneath that. And there must always be, then, 1 purple. So if somebody acquires a purple card, you refill from purple. And if somebody acquires something and there's still at least 1 purple card, then you refill from the other one. The point being, there's always a purple one up there, which gives you a nice boost in power and just makes the game a little more punchy. So there you go. That's all the new stuff, all the new cards. Obviously, we're not going to go over every single one of them or all the new abilities for all the player colors, but that gives you an idea of how the game has been tweaked and juiced up for variety and for new abilities that the players can partake in. So let's go ahead and go back up top.
Okay, so this adds several things. First of all, it adds more stuff.
Right.
More...
More cards, clear cards, and the other ones, yes.
Right.
And
Great.
more mixes.
I want that in all my expansions. Who cares? You're
Yes.
just mixing stuff together.
Yep, for sure.
Although this changed a little bit about how they came out.
Yeah, they guarantee, like, there's always now a purple card in
Right.
play. So if you buy a purple, it gets replaced by a purple. If you check and there is a purple when you need to replenish, then it comes from the green, then black deck,
So it
whatever.
gives you that opportunity to get those little bit more powerful characters, which is kind of cool.
That's easy,
Yeah.
It's a little clunkier to run, maybe, but once you know that rule, it's like, yeah, all
It's
right,
super
got
simple.
Then there's some more locations that you can go to with the newspaper and the loan office, and there's loans now in the game, which I swore I would never do.
And debt.
And did anyway, because they really incentivize that a bit,
They
especially
do,
with
right.
a
You
lot
can
of the
do some-
characters.
do some
It
powerful
is
stuff.
interesting because now you have an opportunity to, like, a character that would normally be out of your reach. It's like, oh man, the other player's going to get that character, but I could take a loan, and now I get the character. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. The big one is, well, there's also, we should talk about the fact that you now have more spaces on your player board for Scoundrels.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's great.
And that's 2 new spaces, and then your debts and what have you. But the big one, I think, is the saves, the new saves. You
Yes,
literally put
100%.
away the old ones that had just the numbers, and now you play with these new sets that have the number and an ability, and possibly modified by another little transparency that goes in front of some of those, giving you a bunch of different combinations. That's a serious kick in the butt to this game, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the weakest part of the game before was just how, like, the entire action of all the stuff and the bluffing and trying to trick people is just taking a safe with just a really just a number on it. It was kind of boring, and even the bluffing of putting the stuff on there. Now you can say, oh, it's a 4, but it's a 4 that has this crazy modifier that goes with the safes I already have, and it's kind of a combo. I really don't want you to take that, So it gives you just interesting, more meaningful decisions when you're doing that whole safe switching out game,
Yeah, I really enjoyed the new saves because the lower saves, I sit there and go, wow, now I get some combos. Now, your first save that you take, and by the way, you can take them faster now.
Right.
But
For
your
sure.
first save that you take, I might be like, okay, now I'm trying to get specific stuff. I'm trying to set up, like a combo here to get it. And that felt better than saying, I got a 3.
I want the 4 or the 5. Yeah, it's like, Yes, you do. That's obvious.
It also took a little bit away from the theme, because if you
Right.
look at the safes, they're neat things. You found a light bulb from the future.
It used to be that, but
Yeah.
thematically, the translation was 4 victory points. That's all
Right.
it did. The
And-
game always felt very small to me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like Roy was saying, you had all these moving parts, but it felt so small.
And the fact that you could only take like the 3 safes, and like you really weren't switching those safes out. You really had to do your research and look at all the safes to be like, okay, that's the one for this round that I'm gonna take. You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes you don't even get your 5 card, so you have to bluff to lie to take that, and then you get wrecked by somebody calling you out on that bluff. But now the fact that you're able to, like, when we played this, I was able to get safes, and I had too many safes. And I was able to switch safes out. It's like, oh, that's a better option with the other safes and the characters I have, and being able to do that adds a lot more flavor and interest to the game, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It makes the game, again, feel a little bit bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
More fleshed out. There's a little more flavor to it. Honestly, this is one of those expansions I'd have a seriously hard time going back to the base game again.
I would not go back to the base game.
You can
know?
also happily, it's not so complex that you can't teach new people it.
Agreed.
So that's a helpful thing. It's the kind of expansion you can stick in the game and keep in there and happily it can. By the way, I did notice here in the back of the box it says it doubles the number of Scoundrels to 6,000.
I told you that, but
So-
you weren't listening.
I was not. So here's the thing. For me, I originally gave the game a 6.5. I said it's almost there. Now it's there. I'm upping my rating of the base game with this expansion in it to a 7.5. I like it a lot. The 2 big things for me are the fact that there's those safes are better, but also, and you mentioned this, that the extra 2 people now allows me to build some fun combos with the Cowboys.
Absolutely, yes.
And also some of the Cowboys that they have now build upon that. So I'm like,
Right.
now I'm going to play the 6, and you're going to sit there, and the bluffing aspect is a little stronger because of that, because you're like, Tom really wanted to run that combo. I don't think he had that card in his hand. I like that. So that, to me, this is, unfortunately, maybe the way the base game should have been, but whatever. This is a essential thing, and it made me like the game more.
Right.
Which does not... Usually I like a game, I play an expansion, and I'm like, ooh, this expansion's great. I love this game, I love the expansion. I thought the base game was almost there, now it's there.
Yeah, I'm coming right there with you. I mean, I didn't go up as high as you did because I had a further way to go. I'm at a 7 for this. I think the game works now. I think it's good. I think this is a game that, like, if you want to get the game, you might, and you don't have it yet, you might should go ahead and get the expansion. It has a lot of really cool ideas. I love the clear cards. I love what they've done with the safe stuff. I still have, like, it forces you to bluff here and there. Sometimes it's like, dang, I have to lie or else I'm not going to get a safe this turn. If I don't get a safe this turn, I'm going to be out of this game. So it's got some interesting things that I don't know how I feel about the game overall, but I do think it's fun still in general, and this definitely increases my enjoyment of it.
Well, I went from a 6 all the way up to an 8 with this expansion in it. I think it seriously reinvigorates the base game.
Oh, for sure.
It makes it, again, that promise of this kooky, wild West meets future tech setting was a promise in paper alone, in sort of theory alone. And the game just wasn't there for me before. Like I said, it felt very small. It wasn't, felt like it wasn't firing on all cylinders.
Gotcha.
With this in it, this is way more fun. Like you said, more combos, fun, safe combinations. I like the bluffing in it, and so that part of it has even gotten a little bit better. And plus, one of the new rules is you have to start with your bluff in your hand. You will play your bluff your first round. That's another change. In the original game, you didn't know if somebody was bluffing. They might have just not drawn that card the first round. In this one, you know everyone will lie at least one time in the first round. That immediately, again, gets more interesting and in your face, and you're double guessing on everybody's turn. This is way better with this. There's not even a question. If you're interested in the game, like Roy was saying, you might want to buy with this. My opinion is, if you're interested in the game, you need this.
You have to, yeah.
Well, good, because otherwise we would have made fun of the name of Double or Nothing. I've been like, it's nothing. No, they doubled.
They doubled.
It was good. So there you go, 3,000 Scoundrels, Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Roy Canning.
I'm Z Garcia.
I should have worn a cowboy hat.
Double. Okay, my score went from a 6 to a 12.
Oh.
There you go.